We have seen roller coasters get transformed before, but nothing like what Cedar Point is doing with this incredible engineering marvel. There are a ton of things to get excited about when it comes to Top Thrill 2, and some things that we question now about the project that we really don't like. So here is a look at the biggest pros and cons that surround Cedar Point's reimagined Strata Coaster Top Thrill 2. Pro number 1. Launching in reverse at speeds of 100 miles an hour. This sensation is going to be absolutely wild, and I do not think any of us really have any idea of what it's going to feel like traveling in reverse at that rate of speed. It is going to be the highlight of the coaster for many of us, and rightfully so. While I selfishly would love the reverse launch to go even faster than 100 miles an hour, I think this is going to be legit awesome. Con number 1. I know that other channels out there have broken down the theoretical capacity for Top Thrill 2, and while their calculations seem positive, but only having 3 trains that hold 20 riders each does concern me. And I know I'm not the only one when it comes to that either. Now, what I personally think that Cedar Point needs to do to help with the capacity concerns for Top Thrill 2 is offer a single rider line. This way, every launch, every seat is occupied by a rider. And if you're not already subscribed to Lake Erie Lifestyles, then you really need to, because they go out a few times each week and get all these amazing construction updates for us. So a huge thank you goes out to them for their dedication for this project. Pro number 2, the swing launch. Some people out there really don't like swing launches, and I honestly do not understand that, because the ones that I've experienced have honestly been one of the best parts of the ride to me. Again, my opinion, but I find it hard to believe that someone does not like the swing launch on Pantheon. And the swing launch on Top Thrill 2 will not only be the fastest in the entire world, but it's also going to be filled with anticipation of what's to come. For example, the enormous 420 foot tall vertical spike. I really think seeing the train launch 3 times and flying up and down the midway is going to be epic. Speaking of the launches, con number 2, the first launch. It's only 0 to 74 miles an hour, and while on any other coaster out there, that sounds pretty intense. But when we're talking about Top Thrill 2, and you have experienced what Top Thrill Dragster used to do in the past, you start feeling a little bit underwhelmed. Now granted, yes, we do get the rollback, but from only around 200 feet up or so on the top hat. Now just imagine if the train started the rollback at a height of around 300 to 375 feet. Pro number 3, the trains. There is a lot to drool over when reading all the details about the Zamperla lightning trains. From the look of them to how they're engineered, I feel like they have a ton of potential to surprise everyone who is watching this. Con number 3, the name, Top Thrill 2. I'm sorry, well, I'm not sorry actually, because I know some of you have warmed up to the name of Top Thrill 2 for this project, but I, however, am not one of those people, and I respect it. If you do like it better now, that's great. But in fact, I think it's the opposite for me. The more I hear Top Thrill 2, the more I think of other great names that could have been a better fit for this project. And after all, Cedar Fair is really cool at naming most of their epic coasters. But now we just have Top Thrill 2, and it just seems kind of, what's the best word here? I would say rushed. Pro number 4, the colors. I'm going to tell you a little secret. I've never really liked the original colors for Top Thrill Dragster, so I really do like the white and red track and the dark gray supports. Visually speaking, I just feel like these colors are going to pop more and look better on the Cedar Point skyline. Con number 4, the restraints. While I did just say that I'm very excited for these new lightning trains, I never talked about the restraints. and at first glance, they seem very comfortable, and that's a great thing. But here's the problem. They are not the T-bar restraints. So for me, this is going to be a huge adjustment riding, since you will not feel as free as you once did on Top Thrill Dragster. Since watching this video means that Cedar Point is one of your favorite parks, here are a few of my other Cedar Point videos that you should definitely check out after this one. And for your convenience, you can find a link to them in the description of this video. Pro number 5, that spike. While I should label this as a pro and con, because while the spike will be 420 feet tall, according to the renderings, the train tops out at around 330 feet or so, which is a really huge missed opportunity in my opinion, since there's going to be around 80 or 90 feet of track that is just an ornament and never going to be used. But the spike sensation, whether it's 330 feet or 420 feet, will be the highlight of the ride. At least that's what I'm looking forward to most. As for the freefall aspect of this, that is going to be insane. Not to mention, but the visuals will also be amazing. What I plan on doing for my first time riding Top Thrill 2 is actually looking out towards the top hat as the train reaches the top of the spike. Con number 5, reliability. Cedar Fair took a huge gamble by going with Zamperla on this project. You know it, I know it, and they know it. And while I pray that both companies execute this project perfectly so it can be successful for both companies, but I cannot help to think that having a company who has not built a coaster anywhere near this size is a huge risk. Even if Zamperla now has a few engineers on their team that did come from Intamin. Pro number 6, the head chopper. I almost feel bad for the original Top Thrill Dragster because everyone talked about going over the top hat and looking straight down at 420 feet. And while I do think that element will still be a major highlight of Top Thrill 2, I can't help but think that this head chopper is going to steal a lot of the hype. That is because this thing looks amazing. I mean, look at this. If it's anything like we see on the renderings, this could go down as the best head chopper ever created. Now real quick, if you're enjoying this video, then all I ask that you do is please give it a like. It takes you less than 1 second to do it, and that is by far the best way you can help support the channel, and I really do appreciate each one, and I just want to say thank you for each like. Also, if you're not a Keep Riding Coaster subscriber, then I really hope you consider becoming my newest one. Con number 6. No elements after the top hat. Now I get it, there is a budget involved for Cedar Fair and Cedar Point, but I also understand how block zones work, especially after operating on over 20 different coasters back in the day. But just think, in the perfect world, if Cedar Fair had a train enter a new block zone as it went over the top hat, then we could have seen an extended layout on the other side of the top hat. The first half of Top Thrill 2 will be all about the swing launch and the spike, and the second half of the ride will be focused on inversions, airtime, and other wild looking elements. And the sad thing is, we know this is possible and there is room, and if Top Thrill 2 actually included everything I just mentioned, it would become the best coaster at Cedar Point hands down. Oh well. Maybe Cedar Point is saving that for Top Thrill 3 that will be open in 2044. Now that you know my pros and cons when it comes to Top Thrill 2, what are some of yours? Please let me know in the comments, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to smile today, think positive, and keep riding coasters.